Hey there. In this video, I'm going to talk about the mastery of thought exercise. This is the meditation when we clear our minds of all thoughts and achieve a state of inner silence. Some people call this the void meditation or the vacancy of mind. For anyone wishing to perfect this ability, there will be some very important content in this video. This is because I'm going to start off with actual practical uses for this state of consciousness, which highlight when this mental state occurs naturally in everyday life. This will allow you to tune in to the exact achievement you're looking for and to be able to apply your existing ability in your day-to-day life. Then I'm going to explain the philosophical background behind this exercise. This gives a greater understanding of the Hermetic path and this practice in particular. The mastery of thought improves the standard of your consciousness. And indeed, anyone who perfects this meditation will notice a great improvement in all their mental faculties, whether it be their ability to reason, to think logically or work things out, whether it be their imagination, their memory, or their emotional integration. So important is this exercise that one of the practitioners I know who has made the most progress in the Hermetic path actually spent 5 years of his life focused just on this exercise, sitting for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening in pure stillness. To be successful, he chose a natural setting, and any changes he needed to make to his lifestyle or his personality, he did. And when he found there were reoccurring disturbances, he explored these in order to remedy them and to bring whatever was calling for balance into harmony. I once met a practitioner of the Franz Barden system who was coming to the end of his life, and he mentioned to me that there was a practical use for this very meditation. He explained that if you are wishing to gain higher inspiration, if you're having a problem making a decision, then you can sit and fill your mind with the question. Don't explore it, but just rest your mind on the question you want the answer to, and then go into your meditation. Clear your mind of all thoughts. And then he said, often you'll find that when you come out of your meditative state, the answer is there. And it's not just an answer from your intellect or from your emotions, it's a whole being answering it, and it just feels right. When he described this to me, a few things hit me. First of all, I realized that this was in the traditional Hermetic text too, and that I had read a section when the practitioner was told to be completely present, and that through this presence a divine concentration of pure awareness would appear. and that this awareness would appear like a silence, and that then, like a waterfall, divine inspiration would come down. I also realised that on a more everyday level, we all do this. So if you focus on your decision making throughout the day and you observe it, you'll find that often when you say, just give me a few moments to consider that, you take a pause, but that pause isn't filled with any form of calculation, any form of searching memories or thinking of possibilities. You actually pause for nothingness. So your decision actually comes from a moment of stillness. You'll notice this occurs quite often in speech as well. If you make an attempt to think before you speak, it's very rare you run through different possibilities. You just take a moment of silence. Watch carefully for the times when you use this method, and you'll find your decisions are normally your best. You can also compare this practical use with the common advice to sleep on hard decisions. So you can imagine that maybe in the stillness of sleep, this high inspiration may descend sometimes. Later on in the video, we will describe why this would work from a hermetic point of view. But just knowing that it works and applying this in daily life allows us to perfect the state of consciousness. So next time you find yourself needing to make a decision, take a few moments of stillness and then let the answer come forth. Another practical use for inner silence is that of a resetting or rebalancing of the consciousness. Sometimes in life, some very emotional things occur, or some situations which we need to solve without being too drawn in to responding to them take place. You'll find that in the past you've taken a few moments of stillness in order to rebalance. So this is probably most popularized in the term take a deep breath. Just stop and take a deep breath. When you take that deep breath, it tends to be with a clearing. You clear all emotions, you clear all thoughts, and then you restart afresh. This state of no thought is a balanced state of being. And often a moment of this is used before some form of athletic or artistic endeavour. The artist or the athlete focuses on exactly what they're going to do, clears their mind of all thoughts, and then takes the action, or then applies themselves. This is why the thoughtless state, the state of no mind, is sought in martial arts, so you can act with skillfulness without any distractions from any thoughts that aren't needed, any fears or hopes about the outcome. You can just act to your highest level of ability. If we read the original Hermetic texts, the reason for the importance of this exercise is clear. The Hermeticists believed that this is the highest state of consciousness. Indeed, often they will say that this is the divine consciousness, or as close as possible to the divine consciousness. The phrasing tends to vary. The reasoning behind this is that everything in the material realm is moved by something and is subject to change or aging, whereas the higher levels are not subject to aging and are not moved. Now, if we contemplate this deeply and read these hints, it really does seem that the apparent stillness comes from a sense of union. So when everything is at one, you don't see the movement. It's all oneness. The Hermeticists actually have a very specific phrase. They say the higher consciousness, or the great good, is unmoved, but is self-moved within its non-movement. Now, this hint really expresses the real state of things. This higher consciousness, this higher state of being which we're experiencing, is beyond our normal dualistic way of thinking. So we often experience it as nothing. But it is also everything. Now, in the ancient times, the Hermeticists used a slightly different approach to achieve this goal. They would become completely present, completely aware of all their senses, viewing everything as one. Anyone who has practiced Barden's approach, which is the clearing of all thoughts internally, the silence inside, will probably find the experience of being more aware of everything actually happens. So these two approaches, they both lead to each other. The idea being that through this meditation we become at one with the template of all. We become at one with the cosmic consciousness, the consciousness of everything. This practice leads to great mastery over the spiritual forces, because when we achieve silence, we learn how to completely control our inner elements, our inner fire, our inner water, our air, our earth. By mastering these elements, we learn to master them externally as well. So if we have a distracting thought or a repeated disturbance, it comes from an element that isn't currently under our control and needs to be integrated into our functioning consciousness. For this reason, those who are seeking practical magical abilities through the Hermetic path should give this exercise a great degree of effort and time. And the more diligent a student is in practicing this meditation, the easier the exercises later on are.